Hi, Sarath. Really well done for submitting some more work, and I can see that you've been working really hard on this, so it's really good to see. And as well, it shows that you're really committed to improving your English, so fantastic work. Your first piece was on the restoration of old buildings in major cities. The argument was that on the one hand, it's very expensive, and on the other hand, so it's expensive but maybe necessary. The other hand is that it would be better spent on providing new housing and road development, so infrastructure there. Let's have a look at what you've got. Experts throughout both the developed and developing world have debated whether retaining the old building or investing on new residences and roads projects is better. This essay will discuss both sides of the argument, using examples to demonstrate the points and prove arguments. Okay, so this essay will discuss both sides of the debate, because we've got arguments here. So both sides of the debate, using examples to demonstrate the points and prove arguments. Okay, well done. I would be careful with this word here, because this doesn't quite get the point across. Retaining just means to keep. I think what we should say here is maintaining old buildings or investing on new residences and road projects is better. Okay, but yes, good, well done. Let's have a look at your first paragraph. Now, just from looking at the structure, do be careful about the length of your paragraphs. We want to keep them relatively similar, and at the moment this one is quite long and this one quite a bit shorter, so just one thing to bear in mind when you're writing. As we read through, we'll see if there's anything we can change about that. Okay, so there is ample evidence that the new housing and road projects enhance productivity in the economy and provide security to the society in terms of places to live and life. Okay, so I would suggest here by life that you mean and quality of life. So the kind of standard of life, the quality of life. The central reason behind this is twofold. Okay. What I would say is to use a full stop after that one. Okay, sometimes a short sentence is quite powerful in an essay. Okay, so the central reason behind this is twofold, full stop. Firstly, comma, capital F, know that such investments require tremendous labour and materials, thus creating job opportunities to many, from engineers to drivers. Good. Secondly, reallocating the budget to make progress on new homes and better roads enhances, with an S, the productivity, enhances productivity in the economy. For example, recent empirical research by international organisations has found that most of the deaths occurred from road accidents are due to unsafe roads and traffic jams in emergency situations. Okay. Now, I would take out this part and say due to unsafe roads. Okay. Here, occurred from, so that most of the deaths resulting from road accidents. Okay, so there's that one. Therefore, with an E, it is conclusively clear that the investment on new projects such as building roads and new houses is undoubtedly a better choice for investment than restoring old buildings. Okay, so I would say go a little bit further with this one. This is quite a general sentence. What we want to do is to get right into the point. So, is a better choice in terms of safety and quality of life. Okay, so we want to We want to avoid using very general sentences and to be really specific, just because our word count is so short that we want to make sure that every sentence is really getting to the main point. Okay, really concise. Okay, well done. So a good paragraph there. In terms of the length of it, I would say there's not a huge amount you could take out. Do be careful with your descriptions. So again, like we said, try to make your sentences as concise as possible. If there is a sentence that is very general, think about how can you make this go straight to the point. Okay. Next one. Although there is a case for spending money on new projects, I would take this part out. So although there is a case for spending money on new projects, but instead of new projects, I think we should say new money on housing and infrastructure. The impact of maintaining or renovating instead of retaining, just like in the instruction, traditional buildings. So renovating traditional buildings to their original form cannot be overstated. Okay. Now, renovating already suggests to their original form, so renovating traditional buildings cannot be overstated. This is largely because renovation of traditional buildings can stimulate the economy through the tourism industry. So, this is largely because renovation, so we can take out this part, because we've already stated that, can stimulate the economy through tourism, or can encourage tourism. For example, the Taj Mahal in India was built many years ago, is attracted to many tourists all over the world. So the Taj Mahal, comma, which was built many years ago, so subordinate clause with a relative pronoun there, so which was built many years ago, comma, is a famous tourist monument. Okay, there are several similar other historical heritages to put forth as examples, such as Pisa Tower, the Statue of Liberty, etc. So Pisa Tower is called the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Okay, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the Statue of Liberty, etc. Okay, so we need to round off this paragraph with a sentence that kind of, in a way, concludes that paragraph. So saying something like, this shows that. Okay, so you've done it here. This sentence at the end of the last paragraph, so you just need to do that again. Otherwise, we're ending the paragraph on an example without kind of finishing it off. It's almost like an incomplete paragraph. Okay, so from the arguments and examples given, comma, I firmly believe that spending more on new residences and road projects and less on traditional buildings is better. Okay, full stop there. So this is because it improves quality of life and productivity in the economy. And then say why this is important for you. Why is it important to improve quality of life and the productivity in the economy? Okay, so on the whole, a good piece of writing. You've got a nice structure here. You've got good points in your paragraphs. The key points here are to round off those paragraphs with a sentence. Okay, so showing how it links back to the question. Okay, and also in your conclusion to just go a little bit further. So you've stated that it is better. But why? Why is it better? So to give your opinion slightly more depth there. But yes, a good piece of writing, well done. Let's go on to your second piece. this is your second piece, okay? So some people say that artists such as painters, writers, musicians affect our life more than scientists. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Give reasons for your answer and include relevant examples from your experience. Okay, so there's been several debates whether it is arts or science that has influenced better in our life. This essay will discuss both using examples to demonstrate the points and prove arguments. Okay. Now, what I would say is possibly that your introduction, is slightly too short. Now, we don't want a really long introduction by any means, but we do want an impression of what is coming in the essay. So, your first sentence here is very generalized, and is essentially the same as the question. So what I would do here is just to add a little bit more detail into what their influences could be. Okay. So next one. Firstly, there is ample evidence that the arts have contributed to the society in the form of paintings, fabulous music compositions, books, etc. Okay. So I would take out this part and say the arts have played an important role in educating on history and culture. It is through neither written books and music, such as the national anthem, that people in a country are aware of their past and and are patriotic. Okay, now a couple of things. Music is okay, so we can't use a plural for music. Music is an uncountable noun. So it is through written books and music, such as the national anthem, that people in a country are aware of their past and are patriotic. Okay. For example, the discovery of India, written by the first Prime Minister of India after independence, talks about India's struggle for independence and the country's different cultures. One must not forget that the inventions of creative ideas are the key inspiration for the industrially minded builders to construct marvellous structures such as the Taj Mahal in India, the Leaning Tower of Pisa in Italy, the pyramids in Giza, etc. Therefore, it is proven that the arts have influenced our lives. Okay, so I would take out this bit. Alright, now there is a little bit, which is a little bit fractured here, and that is where you are talking about books, and then you go on to talk about creative ideas and buildings. However, here you talk about books and music, so I would suggest being a little bit more consistent. So you talk about books and music, then you mention a book. It might be better here to, instead of talking about buildings, to give an example of music. Okay, just to make it consistent in that paragraph. Otherwise, we're introducing a few too many ideas, and this is why this paragraph has actually got quite long. Okay, so we need to make that one slightly more concise there. Secondly, although artists, instead of the artists, have enriched the society, I would say enrich the society in the form of music, paintings, and books. So when we have a plural, we can't have a plural music, so just music. Paintings, no possessive apostrophe there, and books. The impact that science has had on the world is beyond one's imagination. Okay, this is to a great extent, it has a T there, extent, because it is the invention of electricity that led to discovery of television, no capital, television, phones, and the internet. The revolution in technology has influenced the society today, even for their daily lives. For example, smartphones today come with, so not in, with various built-in hyphenated applications to keep people in different corners of the world in contact and find information through its internet services. Okay, good. So you're using the example of electricity, which is good, and the fact that you have narrowed this down slightly. So instead of talking about all of science, you're talking about one pertinent example. This is what you need to do up here. When you're talking about the arts, you've chosen two examples, books and music, so literature and music. You need to stick to those two examples throughout that paragraph. Okay. Good. So at the end of this paragraph, like we mentioned in the last piece, is to have a sentence which rounds off the paragraph. Okay. So why is this important? Okay, so this shows, or because of this, it could be argued that science has more of an effect on our lives than art. Okay. From the arguments and examples, I firmly believe that although the innovative ideas and creativity of artists has contributed to our lives, the role played by science is much more practical and is experienced on a daily basis. Good, well done. Therefore, with an E at the end, the impact is considerably greater and will continue to grow more and more in the future, perhaps. Okay, followed by a full stop. Alright, good. So, a good piece of work here. What I would say is the key thing to take from this feedback is to try not to talk about everything in your essay. So whilst the arts is a very large area, we can't talk about all of the arts because we don't have enough time or enough word limit. So choosing one thing in particular, be that books, be that music, possibly books and music, as long as you are not being too generalized. Okay, and then moving on to electricity, which was good as well, is to finish each paragraph with a rounding off sentence showing how it links to the question. So in an essay like this, where you're doing both sides of the debate, you would end the part on art by saying this shows how art can be considered to be the most important impact, and then the second paragraph showing how for example, this is a prime example of how science has more of an impact on our society. Okay, but yes, very well done. Two great pieces of writing. Just take on board that feedback and there will be lots of improvements there. Really well done. Good work.